the new NEC be announced then, or will that be a separate process? Thank you.
Good evening, SG Mbalula. This is Christian from Netwerk 24. SG, so what I would like to ask is the step-aside rule still going to be implemented? Because according to information we have, that people like Andile Longisa and Batabile Dlamini has now the step-aside rule still in place. And then secondly, just on the report by the Integrity Commission, was it on the Pala issue? And what was the, thank you.
Is it not winning?
It's who? We can take him behind you, TD, because we're just taking the whole round now.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give it to you now, Budzwai. Thank you so much. TD Madia from Eyewitness News. Congratulations, Mbax. First of all, I think not enough time has been given for those commissions to deliberate over critical issues about the organization and what it also wants to do for the country. Secondly, can you just maybe in on the decision that I understand has been taken for Andile Lungisa and Batabile Dlamini to be allowed to stand for the NEC members who are about to be elected? I had a third thing I wanted to ask you. I just need to remember. Sorry, guys. I'll come back to it. We'll come back.
Facts. On the commissions, which has become part of the ANC's conferences, is that still going to happen? Will we get a report back on the input by the Integrity Commission with the head of the Integrity Commission? We understand that the Electoral Committee took its rules to the plenary. What did the plenary decide about the Electoral Committee's rules? Were there any revisions made which would allow people to stand? And then you said, and was there no expectation for us to be part of that nominations process? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Secretary General. Mzwani Limbeche here from the SAPC. I think there's a lot of renewal that we've been hearing as you embark on this. That renewal you were speaking about is actually effected. I mean, I think easier said than done, but I guess it's the actions on the ground, especially because you have people who have lost the conference. They may feel aggrieved, they may feel they are being excluded and something like that. So what is it that you're going to do differently? But besides that, I think the core of who you are as the ANC is to serve the people, particularly because country, it has happened under the rule of the ANC. Why should South Africans trust you that you'll turn the situation around when the decay, if I may put it that way, happened under the very same ANC? Thanks.
Thank you. I'm Hawelo Magolero with UFM and News Note Agency. Mr. Mbalula, did you discuss load shedding? I've already heard the Secretary of Limpopo saying they are opposed to how you are running the conference. I've been to many ANC conferences. I've never seen one this secretive. I mean, almost all the sessions are closed sessions. What motivated the decision to just keep us here? I think you could have even sent us press releases. We'll get the message. I don't know. For a ruling party, perhaps South Africans would expect you to be much more transparent. Thank you.
And elections for the leadership is concluded. Do we expect the Electoral Committee to be dissolved? Not dissolved, but reconstituted? What happens to the Electoral Committee now?
SG. She says, do we expect that now that conference is being concluded, do we expect the Electoral Committee to be dissolved? What happens to them now?
Now that you're elected as the new Secretary General of the organization, could we expect you to be resigning from the executive position of being the Minister of Transport to fully focus on the affairs of the organization as soon as next week? Thank you.
Okay, that's the last hand. Last hand. Huh?
When will he resign is what I, sorry, thank you. That's actually what I wanted to ask. When are you resigning from your job as minister?
From Newsroom Africa. SG, firstly, congratulations. The organizational report was presented before conference. mentioned a few things, particularly about the decline in both the quality and in the discipline of members of the African National Congress. It also spoke about branches where there's no political education, that fund political education programs in the OR Tambo School of Leadership. I would imagine that those are issues that are going to be driven by your office right now. How are you going to deal with the issue of discipline, instilling discipline within the African National Congress, its members? How are you going to deal with the issue of political education? Debates and discussions take place that were akin to discussions that are, you know, that don't belong in conference. So how are you going to deal with the issue of discipline as well as the quality, as well as the issue of political education over your term? Thank you, sir.
We'll come to this side. Let's just take and then we'll come. So we'll do 2 rounds. This is the first round of questions. Can you help me with the mic?
Hi, Zoleka Kotashe from SABC News. In the political report presented by the President at the beginning of the conference, he also made mention of state capture and how there would be resistance, but that the party must forge ahead in effecting some change in relation to corruption within, as well as the national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe. How do you plan to effect these changes if there are top people in the leadership of the party that are in the state capture report? And I know that there have been questions about the Phala Phala report. We spoke to delegates yesterday that said that there was no, the report was not discussed. Can we know the status of that, please? Thanks.
Those are the questions.
We will discuss as officials and with the President when we will resign the portfolio of transport so as to enable smooth transition, and that the work we have carried out and which we will continue to carry out through, I will resign tonight. So we have to discuss. I might go now or after the State of the Nation, or even go on Monday. So we'll have a meeting with the President as the Chief Executive of Government. What does he prefer? Of course, it doesn't mean anything because replace immediately, he will advise. So that's what will happen with regard to that particular matter. In terms of step-aside rule and eligibility to stand and so on, the report of the Integrity Commission is part and parcel of the organizational report that was presented by former Deputy President, Comrade Didi Mabuza. Should there be any developments in relation to that, we'll communicate accordingly. At the present moment, there's not been anything for this conference about Phala Phala. Okay, step aside the rule. The commissions are going to report, and you will get a feedback in terms of step aside. But you will know from the policy conference, it was resolved that step aside rule stands, and it must be applied consistently in the organization. It must be strengthened. That or otherwise, the resolutions that will be taken and adopted this evening to tomorrow will tell as to what is the final resolution. So there will be briefing sessions throughout, as and when we resolve on issues, and I think Comrade Pule and his team will do that. And it answers the question about the media presence here, South Africans, about the decisions we take. We've given you an overall briefing about where we are. As and when the Commission's report tonight, we will be reporting. But I'm not sure you will still be there by 12 o'clock. But the media team will guide. As and when report on all issues, finish reporting the rapporteurs and the chair tomorrow as well. So the media will be fully briefed. We are not having a closed conference. We gave you the opening session and the nominations. Pule will decide on the nominations now as to what will happen in relation to that. And I think the Electoral Commission, you will actually have that. The nomination are continuing as we speak. On the question of commissions, is there enough time? The commissions did not start here. We started at the policy conference. So what conference is doing is to adopt the resolutions, proposed resolutions or recommendations from policy conference. So we've been debating these issues. Tell you what have we resolved. Is there enough time? There is enough time. That's why we create space for a policy conference to enable us to exhaust debates on policy matters in the organization. Nominations have been taken. The National Executive and a decision was taken by the National Executive Committee that she will be allowed to stand as a member of the National Executive Committee, of which that matter have been laid to rest and clarified with plenary. So that's what has actually happened. Why should South Africans trust us own program, and whether or not, in terms of that program, the ANC is able to implement that program and we will be held accountable from what we would have said. At the present moment, the ANC response to South Africans will be guided by how far we have gone to implement our manifesto. I think it's an over-exaggerated statement. Not that there are not weaknesses in governance. There are weaknesses, there are challenges, but there are equally strides that have been made in terms of our election manifesto. So, which parameter we are using to come to a blanket statement like decay? We are overarching in terms of the objective factors, in terms of the performance of the economy, is that the sixth administration inherited an economy that was battered and suffered from recession. Whilst we're still addressing that, we had to deal with the question of COVID-19, which was the biggest setback, not only for us, but we're beginning to see positive signs in terms of the economic recovery. 1.6 GDP growth in the last 2 weeks announced. The labor survey also giving good results in terms of the performance of our economy. So good days are ahead of us, and we need to tighten our grip. And is it been discussed what's happening and all of that? The resolutions will tell what we're saying about that. There is a major restructuring that government must undertake in terms of ESCOM. And a major intervention we've got to make in terms of the management at ESCOM because we've got to kill load shedding. It can't be business as usual. And addressing the challenges we are facing at ESCOM. We need to deal with those issues. Why sessions are closed? There's only one session that has been closed. Not all sessions have been closed. We were in commissions up until we were voting last night, and we were in commissions. The last commission finished at 1 a.m. So it's not closed. Commissions is a closed session. So there is nothing that we're doing in the dark except debating issues that you will be informed of later on today. First report here, reporting and the resolutions, Pule will come to you and he will give you the schedule about the report back we want to give to the nation about the work we've actually covered. So we have not been asleep, we're continuing. So that is what we can report, and we are really sorry if there is an impression that we're closing you out. We want to inform the nation, and we do appreciate the fact that the media is with us and is robust in its engagement with us. So there is no dictatorship of the proletariat here. So we want to engage with you. We want your questions to be answered. Top 7, appearance and engagement with you, probably on the address. But I know you will only ask one thing, pala. So, but just be ready to engage with us on a whole range of issues, and then get to engage with our officials, led by the president. That will happen tomorrow in the afternoon, and we inform broader society about what we are doing here. The Electoral Commission future. The Electoral Commission was the first time it was established now. We will do an evaluation about the work that they've done and how to strengthen the Electoral Commission. It was for the first time that, so ours is an Electoral Commission which is chaired by Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe. So we'll look at that work and make a determination about what we need to do going forward to strengthen and address some of the challenges that the Electoral Commission was facing. Lack of money, of course, we need to grapple with this task. My interest is to and also we don't have challenges of people not paid, and we deal with those, and we'll deal with that with the Treasurer General, myself, at Luthuli House. We run a smaller machine but effective, and building a whole lot of capacity. And the support for the ANC is the support for democracy, and it's the support for the ideals the ANC stand for. And those who've got big pockets then will support us in that endeavor, as it happens with all other political parties. We accept donations without any strings attached. So the task of raising more money for about the quality of the ANC membership and what interventions we need to do. Of course, some of the behavior is an ANC where people just are uncouth, disrespectful. You can't confuse anarchy and ill discipline to revolutionary conduct or militancy. Anarchy is anarchy, being uncouth and disrespectful to acts of discipline. The ANC must behave like a party, not like something else that you can't define. I wanted to use a Stokvel. Even the Stokvel is well organized because it's run by people, it's got management and all of that. The ANC has been conducting its business. President, you've got NEC members who contradict themselves in public. The membership follows. and then social media, insulting leadership, having opinion about everything. Not that ANC members must not have an opinion, but the center must hold. You can't have a National Executive Committee and have every NEC member speaking to the media about their views and about how they feel. That is not going to happen. Given by this conference as the custodian of the ANC Constitution. So I promise you one thing, there will be no lawlessness in the ANC. Those who are continuing with those shenanigans, they must be ready for me. It's gonna be me and them. Because this thing like Casey and Jojo, everybody, I've got enough army to take Julius on and the DA. And then if I've got another army from within, then that is the fifth column. I must deal with it. And I'm the commander of bringing discipline in the ANC. And I must lead from the front. So no more tweeting at midnight from my side. So account must close down. It's going to be boring, right? Discipline is going to be important. There is no self-respecting political party that will go to parliament and vote to impeach its own president. That decision can only be taken by the African National Congress. No member we have sent to parliament will exist on his own and have his own conscience. If you want your, and the center must hold. Whether you like it or not, the center must hold. And we will engage with comrades who are aggrieved about this and that politically and ensure that our issues do not spill over unnecessarily. But if you call yourself an ANC member, there are rules. There is a party line, then you belong elsewhere. State of capture report, these members we are talking about have taken the report on review and in relation to the state capture, and none of them have actually been arrested or facing the wrath of the law in terms of their issues. If anything else happened to anyone, what is going to happen? Eligibility to stand, the question that you asked, anyone is eligible to stand guided by the ANC Constitution. So Batabile matter was looked at, she paid a fine, and in terms of the National Executive Committee, and that matter has been cleared inside the plenary. The matter of Andile Lungisa is being attended to. If there is a need to update you on that matter, we'll do so on Wednesday in terms of the standing of Mr. Andile Lungisa. Comrade, and I think that is the matter. I wish to clarify in terms of eligibility to stand. Pule can deal with the issue of the program.
No. Thanks, SG. Is that we'll follow the route that we took during the National Policy Conference. Once reports are presented at plenary, we'll be taking those presenters to come and talk to yourselves on the crust of the report that shall have been presented to plenary. We can't have them presenting to you before these reports are placed before plenary, because they belong to the members of the African National Congress. Tomorrow's program will include the announcement of the incoming NEC, the conference declaration which will be delivered by the SG, and the closing address by the President. We've added another issue that has got to deal with the media briefing by the national officials. We anticipate to have concluded everything. Latest here is that if you say you start at 9, you can spend the first part of the press briefing just having to explain why Usatomaga 9. So I get you know, comrades, time here is news. So we don't want to go through that hurdle. So if there are any changes, we've got the media relations team. So just to update our SG as well. So SG, the media you see here, this whole precinct is our media village. We established the precinct as apartments. It has got this press room where we host our own press conferences. It has got the media lounge where the media have their lunch, breakfast, and coffee. It has got our own outside ANC Today interviewing area. It has got the outside broadcast area, and it has got studios. So this area allows us to support journalists. What we did was we have kept the media in this space. They make requests to us when they need to engage with yourselves in the leadership or any other cadres who might be here. I mean, yesterday, Mbazi Mashilo was also here to come and talk. Dedicated parking area, dedicated entrance, dedicated access cards. They are only operating from this area. We've had a number of sessions with them here. We took them for site visits. We verified them. And ultimately, SG, 918 of them, including their studio, were covering this conference. By far the largest number to have covered or showed interest in covering the NC conference.
Thank you. I just want to emphasize, we are not behaving like can't get. I know there's a number of media houses who have asked for individual interviews. Conference, we want to give you time with individual officials. You have access to them. At the present moment, our difficulty is that we're in the middle of a conference, and we want to give you as much information as possible. In releases, and I mean, one-on-ones, they will happen. You'll have enough time with the Secretary General. You probably want to ask me, how did I make it here? Because you had closed me, you thought I won't make it, and I told you that you will want those juicy stuff and all of that to understand that. And generally, one's view and vision about how we are going to change things in the ANC. So Mzwandile, I know you have been looking for me, and Samkele, and JJ, and everybody else. So we're going to do that, but I want to also new Deputy Secretary Generals, the Treasurer General, you want to know about money. Our team will have to do that work. It's Monday today. I think the whole week we are all yours. And we appreciate the fact that but we want to minimize talking about ourselves because the people of South Africa are not interested about our squabbles. How are we going to drive that? That's what the president should be talking about. What are we going to do to double our efforts to deal about the ANC? I want to give that to you as well when we interact. Less about myself. Moving ahead now. And so as the ANC, we want to do things differently like that. That the ANC features in the national debate in the country. If we talk about load shedding, how does the ANC think should happen to deal with load shedding? What mandate have you given to government? Operationally and from a squabbles. We have come from a conference. We have elected leadership. It was a big contest. And Pule next to me here was contesting. And he is amper treasurer, Pule. Yeah. And yesterday I saw him addressing a big caucus that you are taking it. But I kept asking myself, how? Unless we do have a Didi Mabuza scam somewhere here, we're going to be betrayed, you know, like it happened last time. No, our branches don't like, what is this thing? They don't like slates. Nomvula made it, and with big numbers, you know, and we've got 3 women now in the top 7. Rapumulikani Mnyamezeli Boy, Jerin Doe, the poor Peters. We are the first from that. I'm a descendant of that dangerous generation. I don't come directly, I'm a descendant. And Peter Mukaba, he died whilst we're working on that. So I feel proud being here, but I know I represent special people in the movement. From where I come from, and the people who raised me politically in the ANC, some are still alive, others passed away. So that with responsibilities. I'm looking at the NEC that is coming, and probably it will also be exciting. We'll have good people there, younger, full of energy and ideas, because we're gonna run, I'm telling you. Starting from January in Mangaung, you will see a different ANC. A resolute ANC, a determined ANC, an ANC that does not go to bed with anarchy and ill-discipline. An ANC that is a party of solidarity, a campaigning organization. Solidarity with the people of Palestine, Western Sahara, the people of Cuba. An ANC that is the party of the left, the disciplined force of the left. That is what we are going to see going forward, and implementation of resolutions. So we're looking forward to this work, and have dissent, but there must be decorum, not riffraff, this thing of insulting each other. If that happens, then I've got no choice. We've got to deal with that decisively. We're not going to allow that. I was at pains, not being Secretary General, seeing people doing as they wish in the ANC. I can imagine if you belong to any political party, being a member. That's what you must understand. So the center must hold. You've got issues, bring them to me. I'll address them. In the context of the ANC party discipline and all of that, nobody will be suppressed. I don't want even those who contested here, even some who were very using nasty words and so on, but we are tolerant. I think he's capable. He's got ideas, he's young. And I'm going to use him to the best of my ability from a point of deployment. And other comrades, William Kize, Pule Mahabi, yeah? I think I will make him an ambassador, this one.
Hi, man. Okay. No, thanks, SG, for lightening up the room. We can now come to questions this side. I'm sure, SG, the question around some issues around the electoral guidelines that they raised, at that point, do with her having paid the fine, the electoral committee, I'm coming to you, comrades. The electoral committee had put forward tabled a review to the guidelines at our last National Executive Committee. Guided by conference, a determination was then made that with a fine being paid, that should then be consistent once membership to the National Assembly. But the Electoral Committee will be able to amplify and clarify this point further. As the SGS said, we will be talking to yourselves with the Electoral Committee just on the final or package of names that have been put forward or have qualified to stand as additionals, since you were not in plenary during the nomination processes. Some of the people that Comrade Khalima read out, Hood, Sam, and Faith. Behind Faith? Okay.
My name is Nomen Masungwini from City Press. I've got three questions. One, there's an ongoing legal wrangle between the president and the former president. Has that matter been tabled before the conference, and what was the view of the president?
Ongoing what?
Yes, legal spread between the president and the former president. Was that matter tabled before the conference, and what was the outcome of that? The second question is the composition of the top 7 looks more of many of you are from Gauteng. What does that say about the quality of leadership on the issue relating to the disciplinary issues that the previous NEC said they are going to defer it to the newly elected NEC? Has that matter been discussed, bearing in mind that this is the highest decision-making body of the ANC? I'm referring to the thing of the Section 8-9 panel report. Thank you.
You wanted to say Parliament, no man? Okay, there was Sam, and then after Sam, so this is the last round of questions. I must just ask colleagues from the media that Sam is there at the back, Leo. Oh, you are sitting like journalists as well. So I was just a briefing. Let me just caution. We are going to have a briefing with officials tomorrow. We're not going to come back this side. We're done. We're taking this side. The SG is going to answer. We go back to plenary. Again, we came to a conference of the ANC. The briefings are just things we do in between. Come in.
Thank you, Mr. Mabe. Congratulations, Mr. Mbalula. Could you perhaps give us a sense of perhaps a particular skill, towering people like Dumanogwe, Sol Blagi, Walter Sisulu, and Chris Hani? Could you just give us a sense of what it is? It could be education, it could be a particular experience. And you mentioned something about MPs not allowed to veer away from democratic centralism, which I suspect will be in conflict with the Mogoeng judgment. I respect that the ANC has outlook as well. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we can take you, and then, so that place will be the last one. Just say your name and your media outlet.
Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, my name is Puti Musomani. Yes. You have 18 months into the next elections. The report by the former Deputy President says the ANC is at a crossroads. Other factors that are contributing to that. And the next question is, what are you going to do to restore the image of the party? You did comment, but if you could please elaborate more. Lastly, Secretary General, for the first time in an ANC conference, we're seeing a government spokesperson also speaking. We see on screens, in particular, the president's spokesperson. Is this normal? Thank you.
Linda Lalimbacha from Kakasi FM. I just want to find out if maybe there were issues of the leagues discussed, mentioning Veterans League, Women's League, Youth League. They've got no permanent structures or elected structures. Where that type of challenge is discussed, do you have any plans maybe to resuscitate them? Thank you.
I just wanted to get clarity on your Pala answer. If the Integrity Commission did not table a report on Pala, does the same go for Digital Vibes? And if nothing was discussed on that, is it safe to assume that the incoming NEC is going to be besieged with that and will have to deal with that? Thanks.
Okay, SG.
Norman, the ongoing legal wranglings, former and the current president, our interest as the African National Congress is to ensure that there is cordial, good relations, which are informed by the convention. That guide how you behave to the former and you being the present person, meaning we should be able to engage if there are issues And as the Secretary General, on behalf of the ANC, will be expected. So whatever issues that the President raises, the former, about the current, you can argue that they belong to the public discourse. And anyone can comment about them, more especially around Pala and so on. The unwritten law says that there must be a decent capacity as SG, just as head of elections. I've worked on a plan to get the two presidents talking. And I think we need to get that going. We need decorum, we need engagement, and to understand each other. So we need to deal with these particular issues, including matters of legal wranglings that we will do. Not only on this matter, on all issues going forward. That is what is required of us. Top 7 dominated by Gauteng, I don't know what does that mean. Mantashe is from the Eastern Cape as the national chair, and that is a migrant worker who came to work here in the mines, and I also came here in Gauteng because of ANC mission, but home is Free State. I come from Botshabelo, L section. So I've left there. My parents, my mother is now staying in Bloemfontein and passed on. So, but my origin is, before I got to that township, I came from the farms. So I'm a farm boy, plus Japi. So I was born in the farms outside Bloemfontein, Deelersville district. That's where I come from. So I come from the Free State. And then Mbalula is from Gauteng. Maropen is from Limpopo with Comrade Mbalula. Comrade Paul, Deputy President. Comrade Gwen is from Tshwane. So you've got about 3 people there. Pretoria. The president is from Shawel. Yeah, in Soweto. Yeah. So the defiance disciplinary issue. The National Executive Committee was briefed about that matter, and that is where it stands. And it will not be withdrawn. The disciplinary committee of the ANC will be seized with the matter and finalize it as soon as possible. That's where the matter is. Organizing and organizational development and building organization. I understand that even at night when I'm asleep. So that's the experience. I'm trained in the ANC Youth League for this work. I've been Secretary General for over a decade. I know how organization like the ANC is. I'm not the administrator. I'm the political leader of the ANC in terms of Secretary General's office. So I'm expected to lead the ANC from the point of view of building a strong organization and understand my tasks in the Constitution, what are they, and enforce them and coordinate the work of the ANC, the work of the party. That's my work. There's nothing about the ANC that can happen without me. It's just like now in transport, when there is an accident, collision in the highway, you're looking for me. Even a pothole in your street, Mbalula. So the same with the ANC. If a member of the ANC is promoting anarchy, they are fighting, must be effective and they must do their job. Anyone who's sleeping on the job is going to have a problem with me. Because some of my comrades, I've seen them The things they do, I mean, is really, really sleeping on the job. The ANC must be alive. If you've got a secretary in all the provinces and the regions, the center must hold. The organization must be alive. I must be told why federalism versus the constitution. We are a political party that has got members who must understand that when decisions are taken, they are taken. And their job is to follow those decisions. We accept in the ANC dissent that you can have a different view, but members of the ANC interpretation about Phala and so on, but and give their own perspectives about that interpretation. But there's everything wrong for members of the ANC to swear and insult each other in that dissenting view. Meaning, you learn even what makes the strength of the ANC is in the healthy contradictions. If you're deep, you've got to give reasons why you say things must happen the way you think they need to happen. You can't suffocate people from thinking, but when you stop thinking, you reach inertia. All what you do, you verbose insults. Then that ceases to be the party that should be respected by people. Society, when it debates issues, members of the ANC apart and have ceased to engage. There was an era here where national debate was at this level. Now, you read newspapers, you read gossip. When you read an article, it's just a gossip column. There is no analysis, political analysis. What shapes the ideas of society is engagement. And we need to put the thing in a what? In a booth, and then characterize them. Engage with the view. If Aubrey Mashiko says, no, the ANC is losing it, and is arguing politically, engage with the view. And you guys must also accept the right to reply. So that's my job. I don't know whether Pule will still be the spokesperson, but whether he still wants to stay or he wants to go. Because I appoint the spokesperson, not the NEC. So, there are many options on the table. Ambassador, ambassador mayorship in Parabura, and so on. So we've got to look at that. So ANC can close shop, and this healthy contradiction comes through the engagement and participation in the battle of ideas. The battle of ideas is not a melting pot in which we get swallowed ourselves as the party without articulating our view. I don't know, Pule will talk about the government spokesperson because I've been very busy in this conference. I didn't see television. Losing membership, it does not